If you're a brand new player to Age of Empires Mobile or an existing player looking to upgrade and update your knowledge on the Warrior Cavalry lineup, don't you worry, I've got you covered in today's video because I am going to go through everything from Season 1 to Season 7 in this master guide. So you know exactly how your early game heroes are going to go into, potentially into those future, you've probably guessed, support commanders that can be filled in this lineup. That's going to go alongside your main two pairings that you're going to be rocking in this lineup. So smash a like, comment, and a subscribe, and let's just dive into today's video. So yes, we are going to be going over everything in the Warrior Cavalry lineup, including later on in the video, your ring choices, stuff to do with your horse and adornments, and just if you guys really need it, I will just showcase all of my talents that I run at the moment, but basically to give you kind of some insider tips so you know exactly how to excel the most with your formation. So firstly, let's break down the supports, because in the early game you don't get access to Dae. We have Guan Yu, and what's going to happen is you're going to have to play Guan Yu as a free-to-play player and mainly even a spender in your formation, because he's going to be your stepping stone or kind of like that fulfillment slot until you get one of the stronger commanders that's gonna pair up with your Lubu. Because in the game, Warrior Cavalry honestly have a really easy setup to understand. It is a definite two-man setup right now, which has got obviously Lubu here and your Zhao Yun. Both heroes are available on the Legendary Advent Wheel, and your Lubu here is going to be on Season 2, while Zhao is going to be later on around Season 6 for you to get access to. And both of these heroes are going to combine together. Why are they going to combine together? It's pretty simple. When we break down their skills, their signature skills are all about dealing critical strike damage. So what this passive allows you to do as a Lubu player is to make all of your customizable skills, as you can see, deal critical strike damage. As well, when you 5-star this hero, there's a 70% chance to deal one or more basically normal attacks. This affects the last 3 seconds, and it does not affect the double attack state. So basically what this is telling you is you can fire off multiple attacks and potentially use different skills in your repertoire that are secondary strike skills, and this damage is going to get amplified because it will get critical striked. The thing is, Zhao Yun is basically a very similar hero, but he buffs up your Lubu directly. So when we go into the Zhao Yun, his passive reads, after any of your heroes activates a secondary strike skill, as you've guessed it, our Lubu does, applies 1 stack of the Cloud Dragon Mat to the enemy troop for 15 seconds, and when the stacks reach 3, you consume them all, deal a nice amount of damage, and this can critical strike. Additionally though, you have a 100% chance to make Zhao Yun and the next hero enter the double attack state. This skill has a 12% base critical strike rate, so they can also crit as well, and well increases critical strike damage of all your heroes by 10% and that crit rate by 15%. So you can see he's basically allowing that Lubu to enter the double attack state on his own potentially and give him all of that crit, all of that damage, all in there. So he is an amazing steroid. So these two are kind of the two go-to Warrior Cavalry heroes that you've got to play. So in the early game, as we said, until you get this Zhao Yun, you're going to be using more likely a Guan Yu for most of that journey. And that is just because Guan Yu just has some decent skills that you can rock. And even at 3 stars and going towards 5 stars with only your Tavern summons, this hero is actually doing a pretty good job fulfilling a kind of role for now, right? Just kind of fulfilling a position until we get our stronger unit. That is one big tip and trick when it comes to Guan Yu though. Please do not waste your universal medals on this hero. You're going to be replacing him with arguably any of these 3 warrior cavalries that we've discussed so far, which is going to be Attila, Vlad, and Timur. So all three warrior cavalry supports are super strong. Each offer you a different perspective of playing the game with this formation. Attila is all glass cannon. If you want to go all gas, no brakes, he is the setup for you. When it comes to Vlad, he's the opposite. He's actually built to be more of a tanky commander because of his stats. Plus, he actually works really well due to all the damage your Lubu and Zhao Yun does. It makes him actually pop off as well. And this is good in a variety of different scenarios, including rallies more specifically. Timur is the in-between. He does a really good job of reducing damage and trying to heal a little bit on top while offering a little bit of offensive capability as well. The thing is with Timur, and this is a nice little fact here, a 1-star Timur can actually be a 5-star Guan Yu. I know it's going to blow your mind, but from all of the testing that we have done on the channel for over a year now, 1-star Timur literally beats a 5-star and 3-star Guan Yu. It's just due to how strong damage reduction is in the game. Another support that we can talk about, and this is going to be a little bit outside the realm for new players, but for more experienced players, is Deyang Yum. This is a tactical cavalry hero that is actually phenomenal when it comes to working with both Zhao Yun and Lubu. The reason why this works so well is when you check in game, her skill recovers units, which is pretty nice. It gives you a little bit of survivability, which is what you lack generally as a warrior cavalry player. But on top of this, you increase the strategy and might of your other two heroes. And this is a percentage based on Deyang Yum. And this is going to stack up and it cannot be dispelled. She does have some great skills like Strengthening Fortification and Peaceful Haven. Or some people run Strengthening Fortification and Immortal Army as well. They go for different builds depending on how they prefer to run their Deyang Yum. But for me, I do like the Strengthening Fortification and Peaceful Haven build because what Deyang Yum provides you as a warrior cavalry player with Lubu and Zhao Yun is an option to step into, you've guessed it, the rallies and garrisons. And she is a 10 out of 10 powerhouse for your march, even in the matchless formation category, which will sacrifice 50% of your attributes in order to pull this combo off. But as anyone will tell you with Deyang Yum, it's a definite combo you're willing to sacrifice those stats on to get this super tanky and super DPS heavy Lubu match in rallies and garrison. And some of the top players honestly run this formation. It was quite scary to see how well it actually performs now in the meta lineups. So with that, let's kind of go into what you need to know, right? The actual skills for these formations. So the first one is Lubu, Guan Yu, Attila. This is basically your season 2 and the starter guide to your Lubu. Depending on how you want to play this game and who you want to match with your Lubu, you're going to go for a 5-star Lubu with your legendary advent wheel spins and working on him all the time using your universal medals. Guan Yu is through the tavern, so you're going to be able to earn him quite easily, and you can get sometimes some extra boxes through events that will give you some extra sculptures towards him, which is again a nice little bonus on there. Attila is going to be the key piece early game. Even if you have this hero 1-starred in this lineup, it's gonna make Lubu go absolutely crazy with the damage. The skills that we've got equipped is Ripper Tiger and Weak Spot Attack for Lubu. For Guan Yu, I'm running Armor Piercer to shred the enemy armor, and then Fatal Blow, since this can deal damage and critical strike. And the reason we've gone for an epic skill here as well for you is because you don't want to fully invest into Guan Yu. So again, this is saving you some Empire coins or a legendary skill unlock medal for your formations in the future, which is a very valuable item to do. Attila is going to go critical insight with Warrior's Hymn, and then when it comes to the rings, we're going to go Ring of the Daisy, Tranquil Water, and the Night Wolf, and we'll explain more about those rings later on in the video. So that's the very first formation, and like I said, you're going to be building on that formation no matter what as a Warrior Cavalry player. Depending on how you want to go with your supports, this is where your Zhao and your Lubu in the late game is asking you, Do you want to go full DPS and have, as you've guessed it, the good old Attila in there and have a 5-star Attila? If your answer is no, well, in the season 1 and season 2, you only need to go for a 1 to 3-star Attila and save your universal medals for obviously a Timur or a Vlad, whichever support you've picked, to 5-star and actually place with your 2 main heroes in that lineup. But no matter what, it always will start off with this formation. And the thing is, the obtainability is a 10 out of 10. You can get this really easy. Every single person can get this. The viability, easily 9 out of 10 in the first season that you get access to. In season 2, it is the #1 match in there, and it is probably the #1 match even in season 3 as well, until later on where you get access to more supports to replace Guan Yu. The longevity is an 8 out of 10, just like I said, because of unfortunately Guan Yu being replaced in the future. But one of those, as we get into the more recent ones, as you've guessed it, is going to be Timur. So if you choose to go for a Timur lineup, this is obviously the setup I'd be running. The same skills for Lubu and Zhao, same rings and everything. The only difference is your Timur. He's going to be running critical insight and his own skill on top. And again, this is a very powerful skill to bring to the table. When you are running this as a warrior cavalry player, you got to remember, you're going to be critical striking quite a lot on your hero. And because you're going to be critical striking quite a lot on your hero, your Tempered Steel is going to be triggering quite often. And you got to think this is a passive ability, which you don't need to worry about. It's always going to happen. And if anyone crits, which everyone is doing, you're going to be recovering troops and getting that 5% damage reduction, which adds up to stuff like your mount traits, for example, and even your gear that you level up to 3 and 4 stars to reduce damage taken for your marchers, right? So really important to try and add up all the little pieces of damage reduction that he provides. Obviously, his Timur skill, the passive, again, really good, reducing troop damage taken by 15%, massively here. He's not really doing any damage, so you don't need to care about that. But afterwards, you increase the damage dealt by 30% at serving as the commander, and you reduce the damage by 15%. When serving as a second in command, this effect decays by 1/3. So no matter what, in second, so as a support, or if you play him as commander, which you don't need to do, he is going to be boosting up the lineup. So as you can see, really good little buff based support that does have damage reduction in that lineup. Going into the last lineup, as you've probably guessed, it's going to be Lubu, Vlad, and Zhao. And Vlad is actually a really easy one to build because a lot of people may already obtain him, and you might have actually recently benched him in Season 7 if you're watching this for your Roland. And the thing is, Vlad III has a really good home with Lubu. You can keep the exact same skills of Forceful Retaliation as well as Deadly Dragonthorn in order to counterattack and deal damage back, but his damage output from his main signature skill is going to be easy to activate. You got to remember, his skill relies on other heroes to do damage. So when your hero with the highest might deals damage, which is Lubu, and as we all know, Lubu does the most damage in our formation, we have a 50% chance at a 1 and 3 star. It obviously goes up into a 65% chance in order to deal might damage when you upgrade this hero. So you can see at 1 star, this is what it looks like. At 3 star, you can see the upgrade on it. And then at 5 star, as I said before, you're getting that 60% chance there on your Dragon's Vigor. So 6%, 160, 30, 20, and 10%. It's a nice amount of damage that you're going to be able to deal on top of your Lubu dealing that damage. The only other formation that you can be running in the late game, as I kind of mentioned, is Lubu, Attila, and Zhao. And this is just running what you had from the beginning of the game, and I have to rate it, as you can guess it, a 9 out of 10 on longevity, because you're using a Season 1, a Season 2 hero together with that Season 7, Season 6 Zhao Yun, and it's an absolute powerhouse in there. When it comes to Zhao's skills, you do want to use Pain in Blood if you want to try and recover units and actually have a lot more survivability inside of rallies and in combat. However, just as a big tip and trick for Warrior Cavalry mains, because this is, like I said, the ultimate guide for Warrior Cavalry, Zhao Yun also has the ability to choose, if you want to, Dark Flag. And the way this will work, if you build your heroes correctly, as you know, you're going to increase the hero with the highest might. And the issue is, with many people, your Zhao Yun is going to be the highest might hero. So what you can actually do is, in order to get this difference and actually get maybe your Lu Bu to get higher up there, what you're able to do is go to stuff like your gems. And if you can actually get higher level gems on purpose that are might specific for that Lu Bu, and maybe you take the sacrifice and go for all attributes instead on the Zhao, that little bit of reduction in stats is going to allow you to always enable Lu Bu to gain the might. Otherwise, if you don't do that trick, as people will know, the the Dark Flag will target your Zhao. And obviously, it is a nice boost to Zhao. It's going to make his skills go off a bit better. But if you can place that onto a Lu Bu, the damage is exponential. And you can combo this with some really interesting rings that we're going to discuss very, very shortly. So now we have gone through, honestly, all of the formations. So I'm going to kind of bring it back as a summary so we can lead to know where we are. And then we're going to move forward to our rings, our gear, our gems, and our mounts and stuff. So beginning of the game, Season 2, Season 1, Attila, Lu Bu, must-have heroes, and especially Lu Bu is going to be your first 5-star hero that you should all in on. Attila can be 1 to 5 stars, depending on if you're choosing an Attila all the way to the end game. If not, and you're going to replace him for someone like Vlad or your Timur later down the line, or De Yang Yum as another, tactical cavalry option for him, you would keep Attila at 1 or 3 stars if you can afford to do that with all your medals. Guan Yu, keep Guan Yu in the tavern. Do not waste your universal medals, but he's going to be the stepping stone for the late game build, which is going to be Lu Bu, Attila, and Zhao. Then you've got Lu Bu, Timur, and Zhao as an alternative, more bruiser variants, and then Lu Bu, Vlad, and Zhao. And kind of like I mentioned earlier on with De Yang Yum, if you do want to run her and you're probably wondering what the hell would you run, all you gotta do is put her in the exact same slot as I've put in my formations, and by doing so, all you gotta do with your skills is make sure your De Yang Yum here is equipped with a Peaceful Haven just to get your troop reduction in, and I would say Strengthening Fortification. In some scenarios, you could run Strengthening Fortification and Immortal Army, or Strengthening Fortification and Kingsblade. I have actually seen all 3 being used, and everyone tells you to get positive results. So again, maybe try it out yourself. Maybe just use an Oblivion Scroll or 2 just to test it out, and you might be surprised with what you prefer on your formation there. So that is all of the supports, that is all of the summary, that's every formation, honestly, that you need to know about for Warrior Cavalry. Now, let's discuss the big things in the room. Your gems, your rings, your mounts, and then the finished bits, the talent pages, right? So when it comes to Lu Bu gear, it's pretty simple. Make sure, obviously, you got your gear equipped. And always, when it comes to gear upgrading, always upgrade your helmet and your chest piece first. You'll notice these give you your health bonus and unit capacity. This is health bonus and unit capacity. You're going to need those stats. They are one of the strongest stats in the game. And when you look at your arms and legs, they are different a little bit. You want to upgrade your boots 3rd and then upgrade your arms 4th. This is because this is during sieges, which we don't care about, while your boots is actually elimination rate. Again, when it comes to all of your gear, make sure it's level 80. But for your gems, you can use a variety of different gems. I'm using what I've got at the moment, but some of the best gems to use is either unit capacity and all attack. Why is this a really good combination? Because you're going to be able to use Lubu with T1 units. I know it's going to sound crazy, but you're able to farm and even hit players with T1 Lubu and get absolute insane trades only if you go all in on attack. If you're not going to do T1 Lubu, which is perfectly fine, you're going to be able to use, you've probably guessed it, unit capacity or unit health. So if you could put unit health on your Lubu, this will be a massive gem push and make your formation honestly hit even harder and survive out there even longer. And people are probably wondering, how the hell are you doing so much damage and not taking anything? And it's because of your health gems. Going into the next one, it's easy hero might for all of these. When it comes to your next gems, it's going to be secondary strike skill damage. As you saw in his passive skill earlier on in the video, for his signature, it makes your customizables do critical strikes. So if we already crit, we want to amplify that damage. And as you guessed it for boots, repeat one of all of the things I've said. So in the first slot, you can go for unit cap, attack, or health. I would put health as number 1, unit cap, unit 2, attack 3, depending on the builds that you're playing. When it comes to your Attila gems, they're pretty simple again. These are going to be the same gems as well that you would run on basically your Timur for your lineup. You're going to be using health, unit capacity, as you can see that I've got in here. We've got might all on our march, just the same as Lubu, but then you're going to run troop normal attack damage. You could try secondary strike skill here as well if you run weak spot attack. However, I don't recommend that. Just running troop normal attack is enough, just so you can do more damage, and you'll realize it lessens the burden, so you can go for mythic secondary strike skill gems on your Lubu instead of having legendary for both Attila and Lubu, because you have to try and obviously spare them accordingly. Going into the boots, it's everything I've just said, one of each, either unit capacity or health, might, as well as troop normal attack. When it goes to Zhao Yun is a really easy one to understand again, unit capacity as well as health. We go for all attributes and a little bit of might, and if you can go for all attributes all the way through, as I said, this is only so if you go the dark flag build, you're able to put the dark flag buff on Lubu. If you're not running dark flag, and I mean this, if you're running pain in blood and you're recovering units, make sure all of these are, as you guessed it, might. All might gems if you're able to do it. If you don't have enough might gems, obviously use the best gems that you've got in that slot, just like I'm doing. Going into the next one, which will throw a lot of people off, but you do want to put passive skill damage gems in your chest piece, and that is going to be the same when it comes over here with your ending. And this is because when you remind yourself of your Zhao Yun, your signature skill is a passive based skill which deals damage and critical strikes. And what we learned from tests and doing this, and you can check it out yourself, no matter what, out of all of the skills that Zhao Yun has, even his, obviously, his secondary strike skill here and pain in blood, the Valiant Rescue actually comes out on top on the most consistent and highest damage ability out the three. So because it's the highest, you want to try and empower that skill over any of the other three, right? When it goes to Timur, like I said, use the exact same gems as it comes to Attila. And if you're going to run Vlad, you're going to be running unit capacity, unit health, you're going to be running might gems, and then for the chest piece, you probably guessed it, it's going to be passive based gems because he is a pikeman at the end of the day, and just repeat all three on your boots and you're good as golden. When it comes to your Deyang Yum, I have seen a couple of different builds for her, but it's going to be unit capacity, unit health for your helmet. When it comes to your actual braces, this is where the two choices go down. You can go for full might or full strategy on here to either scale your strategy of your abilities, which is really nice, or if you actually go for all might, you've guessed it, you're going to be able to kind of transfer more might to your Lubu. Alternatively, all attributes also works on this hero. If you're scaling all the attributes up, that's also going to help. But when you're transferring, you got to think, if you just scaled might, it will give you more might transfer to that Lubu and Zhao. Apart from that, it's going to be simple. Hero, recovery, gems for your chest piece, and then repeat for the last boots of one of each, right? So those are all the gems covered for the March. Now let's talk about the more interesting things, which is your rings. Signet rings is pretty simple when it comes to this March. All you're going to need to do, and it is the best slotting ring for 95% of players, it's the Ring of Daisy. It is a rare ring, and because it's a secondary strike ring and you could equip it to Lubu, for some reason, it seems to allow him to crit. It is all of his customizable skills for some reason. This is class in this one. And yeah, you will see a Ring of the Daisy on a Lubu do unreal 40k, 50k amounts of damage compared to legendary rings only doing like 6,000. It's actually ridiculous how good this ring is. So no matter what, always pick this. If you are a super Kraken, and I mean this, a super Kraken in the game, from testing from other creators, they have actually proven, which is really cool, that actually equipping Radiant Thunder is a better alternative on the match. And this is only if you're a Kraken and, you've guessed it, the Radiant Thunder needs to be maximum. If you've got this max, this is actually a very powerhouse ring that people have tested on Lubu. However, I still think that is a massive investment and you might not actually enjoy it too much compared to just actually getting a Ring of the Daisy completely done and working on some other rings faster. So the other rings that I would recommend, as we've put in all of our videos so far, Ring of the Nightwolf. This will be equipped early game to the support in the Lubu lineup with the highest might. The thing is, this is scaling off might bonus, so the more might that hero has, like Attila, it's gonna do more percentage in boosts. So right now, this is like one of the best rings, no matter what we can be putting on. It also boosts commander damage, and this is at level 30, by the way. Imagine if you have a level 40 signet ring here, it's a 25% increase in damage, plus it's scaling up to might bonus now. That could go to a 30% increase depending on how much might you might have, which is a nasty amount of might. Let's be honest, it's an amount of damage that you did not want to see. What you'll notice though, for the third slot for your warrior cavalry, there is actually a variety of different rings that you can run. And the thing is, for the variety of different rings, it's all defensive based rings. So for like Attila and even for Vlad, Tranquil Water is a fantastic option. If you're running Timur, Ring of the Falcon is actually a really good one because it does help his recovery effect go up, and it adds recovery and damage reduction to your March, which is a very good, cheap, epic ring that you're able to apply. You can also apply Ring of the Clover. This is a 50% chance to reduce 25% damage. And I would recommend a lot of players, especially newer players, actually opt into using this ring first on their March as their third slot, just as a stepping stone, like your Armyy was, for your future investments, because it's a super cheap ring. You can use it in future formations that you might be working on as well, but for right now it will do the job until you get that big upgrade for you. Alternatively, another good ring I do want to recommend is Ring of the Bear, and this is for that one strategy I discussed earlier on in the video. If you're choosing to run Zhao Yun with that dark flag and you're trying to manipulate the attributes of your heroes to ensure Lubu is always the #1 statted might hero, well, Ring of the Bearer is going on that plan even higher. When this ring is maxed out, yes, you're still reducing only 20 armor, but you give your Lubu 105 might. And with the might addition, as you've guessed it, from your dark flag and all the damage steroids that you're getting from your Attila, this is an absurd burst of damage that you just get, and you can't ignore the amount of stats Lubu gets in there. So each of these rings, each of these different setups, as you've guessed it from today's ultimate guide, is all about you. What have you preferred so far? What sounds the most exciting, and what is kind of down your alley? because by that answer, you'll know what, honestly, ring to be using in this formation. Another just all-star that I do want to shout out for people that use Dae Yang Yum is actually Lofty Mountain. This on Dae Yang Yum, again, boosting your commander Lu Bu in this lineup. And then on top of this, for the 18 seconds after entering battle, you reduce your troop damage taken, and then after 18 seconds, you increase your damage you deal, which is very powerful in rally scenarios, and especially as Dae Yang Yum is stacking up those attributes and then transferring it to your Lu Bu. It's just kind of like a little nice match made in heaven. So when it comes to the signet rings, you have a plethora of choices on there. When it comes to your mounts, it's very simple as well. When it comes to your Lu Bu, the number one things you want to look for is stuff like Thunderbolt and Gallant. Both of those skills are honestly going to do the most amount of damage for your Lu Bu. One might do more than the other by 1 or 2%, but for fun's sakes, just pick Thunderbolt or Gallant. It's going to help you massively. If you can get both traits, that's going to be huge. And if not, a really good third choice that I would recommend is actually just Armyy Sunder. This is just increasing all types of damage you do on your Lu Bu. So very easy to go for. When it comes to your actual adornment, I've got Chainslayer on here. It's a nice one to run. Yes, we can get some better choices, such as Boiling Blood for your hero. And I would recommend, if you're able to get Boiling Blood for your Lu Bu, it is the best thing to do. Since you're always critting, you're going to get a bunch of benefits out of doing so. But if you aren't able to get it, I would recommend Chainslayer as an obvious choice. This says after the mounted hero activates 3 customizable secondary strike skills, you increase the next hero skill damage by this amount, and it stacks up to 2 times. So we're casting a lot of secondary strike skills with Lu Bu. As you guys know, he deals a lot of damage. This is going to go off quite easy. So this is a good option as well, but I would prefer Boiling Blood. When it comes to the other heroes now, so let's jump out of our Lu Bu and go to someone like Attila. You can see we've got, obviously, this signet ring on. Going into his horse, you want to put Fierce on, really increase that troop normal attack damage. It's going to be massive. Alternatively, there is some traits that you can aim for, like Bedrock. This is going to reduce the amount of damage that you take overall, which is a really good trait. You can also, depending on if you really want to use this as a rally-specific setup, you can look for those traits that say in a rally battle scenario, you take less damage. So those type of traits are really good for your horse. Obviously, you always want to try and get might and armor, but whatever the attributes are, they are what the attributes are, so don't lose sleep over them. When it comes to your actual adornment, I would equip Resistance. This thing is so good. And what's really good about Resistance actually in the game is one of the only things that really do stack on top of each other. And we've seen this frame by frame from other content creators showcasing this one skill doing so. So it is really good to have on. And even if you just get one Resistance on, you will see the big difference on your match survivability. So Resistance is an all-star here for your adornment on your Attila. This is going to be the same kind of adornment you're going to be looking for on your Timur, even on your Vlad, and even on your Dae Yang Yum. So yes, every single one of your supports are going to be running this. When it comes to your Zhao, you can run a couple of things, but again, I'm going to be honest with you, Fierce is a good option, but Valor is the number one. You got to remember, Valor is going to increase your passive skill damage. So if you're able to find a mythic trait with Valor on and increase your passive skill damage, I would equip that onto your Zhao Yan and increase him even further. When it comes to the adornment, like I've kind of guessed earlier, Resistance. Resistance is a really just good adornment that you can be equipping onto your march. And if you do have any questions on Zhao for any other adornments, put them down in the comment section down below and I will answer them for you guys. So that is basically all the mounts and the adornment section done. We've done the gear, we've done the rings. The only thing left to remain is honestly down to the talents. And the best thing to tell you is always work away your way around and get all of the stuff that's going to increase the damage of obviously your main commanders. However, there is a good choice depending on what you want to do in War Hardened. Just remember, in this area, you're able to get 2% extra damage and damage reduction in solo field battles, right? Or you're able to do this in rally battles. So if you're going to design this like a Dae Yang Yun match or even a Vlad match, for example, and you really want to go into rally meta and even Attila, because I use Lubu, Attila, and Zhao myself, this would be an option for you to go down, because adding that extra 2% will help you and you won't realize it until you've got it on compared to other players. And again, it's only specific for rallies. So when it comes to all of the other pieces on here, I would always try and grab as much health as you can. Always get the might when you're able to. Scrolling up, you'll see again, I've gone for the attack, and then straight across here for the defense. Always get the main stats that are always going to be applied to you, such as the damage reduction that you've got in here. Scrolling up, we've got more damage reduction, the might, and even more stats over here. And then on the top side, you can actually go really crazy, because up here will allow you, as you'll see, to reach down at the bottom and get the maximum from the top side of your talent tree. And the thing is, that is honestly the same kind of talent tree for every single person here. So if you want to, and I mean this, if you want to pause the video during this segment, I'm not going to be mad. Go and pause it, because I am going to go through this a little bit quicker now. But the talent page for Lubu, you'll see, is basically identical to that Zhao page. It's nothing different. It's basically going down that exact same route in order to get to the very bottom. If we go to my Attila page, it's going to be the exact same thing. All stats trying to go all open field, because you got to remember, if you're copying the exact same page on all three commanders here, especially these warrior cavalry, it's going to allow you as a player, more importantly, to stack up to 6% extra damage and damage reduction in solo battles or rally battles, and get all these additions that you've got on top. So those are, as you've seen it, all of the talent pages, all of the signet rings, all of the adornments, mounts. We've gone through all of the heroes, all of the formations from Season 1 to Season 7. So as a just finisher up for today's video, I will summarize all of it for you and give you as much of the finishing up relevant information for you, with one final tip and trick for warrior cavalry, which is a very important thing to learn if you're going to be running this formation in particular. So firstly, let's go through the setups. Lubu, Guan Yu, Attila. Season 2 Lubu Advent Wheel. Guan Yu on the Tavern. Attila Season 1 Advent Wheel. It's just going to cost you some Empire coins. Spin it to 20 times or 60 if you're able to, and you'll get the maximum rewards on both of them. Going into the future now, you're going to be benching that Guan Yu all the way to Season 7 for Zhao Yun, and you're going to be running Lubu, Attila, and Zhao in this setup. This is a very important one, because this is going to give you that late game transition from that early game hero that you've got, which is really cool. Moving into a different setup, this is Timur. Just to remind you, Season 3 or 4 Advent Wheel hero. Again, completely free to play friendly. All of these lineups are, and long-term investment again. If you want to run this, you're going to be happy days. Last one, Vlad, more tankier and actually really good in rallies, where I'm going to give it some props out there, and in the upper field can do some work too. But this is your Vlad III setup. Instead of benching him for that Roland, you can find him a brand new home. So one thing that you need to know, especially with warrior cavalry, as a final tip and trick to finish up on today's video, and hopefully you have enjoyed today's video, is the lineup itself. So as we kind of learned with Zhao Yun, his passive states on the bottom here, you have a 100% chance to make Zhao Yun and the next hero enter the double attack state. The key word here is the next hero. This is very similar to how your skill for Attila works on Warrior's Hymn, which also says increases the next heroes, might by 125, and so on. The way this works is pretty simple. In your lineup, you need to know your commander is classed as number 1, this middle slot is number 2, and Zhao Yun is number 3. And because you want your Lubu primary to ensure all of your offload damage always goes off, this is going to be slot 1. To get that next hero, you need to put Zhao Yun on the 3rd slot. This is going to make his buff go from 3 all the way to 1 and allow that double attack state to go on. This means, as you've guessed it, if you put Zhao Yun primary, you do need to move Lubu to the 2nd spot. This means you're going to have the Zhao Yun commander skill, Wild Dragon, instead in use, instead of the Lubu's skill, One of a Kind General, which is an AOE circular damage template instead. And what this is going to do is obviously let Zhao get his marks even more, but still hop to Lubu. So just remember that anytime it says the next hero, whoever is in position 3, their skill is going to boost over to position 1. And that is the best advice I can give you with this lineup, so you can learn exactly how to always position it correctly for whatever need you need to do. So that's it. Ultimate guide to Warrior Cavalry. Hopefully I've helped you guys out. I've given you all the information that you need. If I've missed anything, or if you just got any questions, comment down below. I'm happy to answer them for you guys and give you all the information needed. And hope I've enjoyed, or you've enjoyed today's video, because I've definitely enjoyed it. It's been a blast making one of these guides. And more importantly, to finish it up, down below, tell me what hero, what formations that you would like to see next. Get the brand new 2026 update treatment of the Ultimate Guide series. And until then, stay safe, stay sneaky, guys. Peace out.